is dangerous.
Bad feeling about this.
You don't seem to understand something.
The thing that I like most about being a dad is that I see that I'm about to impact the world. Yep, for sure. It's your boy HD, Humble Dad, Dr. Glenn, all of those in between, and then some. Thanks for tuning in. We're gonna have a great show this evening. Welcome to Humble Dad Podcast, where we talk about marriage and relationships and how to do them better. We provide solutions and resolutions to those that are struggling, or even those that are even doing well in their relationships and their marriage. The goal for me is for people to have productive and healthy marriages. And tonight we're going to be talking about men fear divorce, women fear marriage. And I got this particular conversation from Hitman Holla. He was on Cruise Season's podcast, and he talked about this kind of a little bit. But if you want to check out the full clips of what he said, you probably have to go to Cruise Season app. Shout out to my dude Trill and his homies. All right. So coming up, we're going to talk about, first of all, what's the appropriate amount of time to show up before a meeting? What is the appropriate amount of time to show up for a meeting? We're going to start with the Common Sense Podcast. What's up, sir?
Oh, man, what's happening? Oh, yeah. Everything's beautiful. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, man. Doing well. What you got on the question?
I would say 30 minutes will suffice before a meeting.
Really?
It's better to be prepared, man, as possible.
So is that you leading the meeting, or is that you being an observer of the meeting?
Attending.
Oh, 30 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Okay. Easy and simple. Got you.
Mm.
Hey, we're going to welcome to the stage Miss Jamie in the building.
Hey, y'all. Thank you for having me. Can you see me?
Absolutely. I can see you
right there. Okay. So, what's the appropriate time to show up to the meeting? If I'm just an attendee, it's 15 minutes for me.
Okay.
But if I'm hosting the meeting, it's about 45 minutes, because I like to make sure that everything operates, that I go through what I'm about to talk about. And if anything is malfunctioning, I could try and fix it beforehand.
Okay. That's what's up. Appreciate you being here. We're going to rock out. Hey, welcome to the stage, Mr. Lost in Translation.
Good afternoon. Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
Good. 20 minutes, man, this seems to be the sweet spot for me, because it gives you an opportunity to make sure you get everything set up and do a little bit of networking beforehand. So that way, the closer it is to the time that you have, you don't have to have that awkward silence. It's like, okay, we get about 20 minutes to schmooze. And then after that, we get right into it,
20 minutes. Is that if you're an attendee?
Either way, it should be
really?
long enough. Yeah, because think about it. While you're setting up, you're talking, and then that way you explain to what you're doing, that type of thing. And then after that, you get everything set up. So that way you kill two birds with one stone. So 20 minutes is a sweet spot.
That's what's up. Appreciate you being here as usual.
My pleasure.
Hey, welcome to the stage, Miss Ash in the building.
Hello. How y'all doing? Thanks for welcoming me. For me, if I'm hosting, I'll probably do like 30 to 45 minutes. Just depends if I'm doing any type of project that I need to display, or lay out any paperwork that people need. It just depends. But if it's me just arrive to the meeting to get the information, I'm probably going to be like 15, 20. Just depends. Because I always ask, hey, you need help setting up? Do you got all your copies? Sometimes I do like to be a team player.
Sometimes.
I said sometimes. I ain't gonna lie. 99.9% of the time, I am wrong. Okay, we're gonna go with it.
I've never heard you say that you was wrong in a conversation. Though.
That's a lie. That is a lie. Don't do that. Don't. You
I
want to
don't
start?
remember you saying, you know what, I was wrong. I'm just saying, and we got a lot of documentation.
It is documented, baby. I use that phrase 99.9% of the time I'm wrong. But hey, this, that, and the third. Don't do that.
We'll see tonight if that applies. I'm just
And it ain't. And it ain't.
That's what I'll be talking about. Hey, appreciate you being here, Ash. And welcome none other than Mr. Viral in the building. What's going on, sir?
Let me unmute my mic. What's the deal, bro? What's going on?
Doing good, man. Glad you can make it out, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You said how early should you arrive to a meeting?
Yes, sir.
And we're talking about a business meeting, just to clarify.
However you want to put it. You put the context on it.
All right. I'm gonna say anywhere between 30 to 15 minutes. 15 minutes is kind of pushing it. That's damn near late. So I say 30 minutes just to give yourself some cushion, just to, go over what you plan on saying in your head, or going over any information you might miss, or you know what I'm saying. If you're hosting the meeting, I say you need to be there damn near an hour early, because people are gonna get there, gonna be arriving 30 minutes early. So it's a bad look if you're hosting a meeting and your attendees are there before you. That's unprofessional in my eyes. You need to be the first one at the building.
I agree with that. I would say about an hour if you're presenting, because you never know what the malfunctions may be. And then for me, I like to go through my presentation at least 2 to 3 times. And then, of course, if people come in, once people are coming in, I'm able to also dialogue with them, not feel rushed. But that's just me. So that's a good take on what it is that you all see as the time frame is concerned. So I'm gonna start on the beginning of this, on the front end. Am my mic loud?
Nah, you good.
I bet. The question, not question, but I want to let the people know where people can find you all at on the front end. So we'll start with Lost in Translation. What can people
Awesome.
find? So they can go ahead and go there now.
They can find me on my YouTube page, Lost in Translation Podcast, also on Instagram and TikTok as well. On Humble Dad on Mondays and on Black Man Unfiltered every day after that, especially on Tuesdays and Fridays. So that's where they can find me.
That's what's up. Ash, what about you?
You can find me on IG 360.diva. Everything else is gonna be tagged to that. So you ain't got to work that hard. And you can find me at home when I'm here.
You on one tonight, I see. Mr. Viral, what you got?
And you can find me on YouTube, The Viral Way Podcast. You can find us on Instagram, The Viral Way Podcast, TikTok, The Viral Way Podcast. You can follow my personal page, Mr. Viral himself, on Instagram. But just go to The Viral Way Podcast, Instagram, and everything will be in the link tree. You can find everything else you need to find in the link tree.
That's what's up. Appreciate you being here. Miss
Yes,
Jamie.
You can find me on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook at Jamie Radiance Moorhead 7. Just all the time.
Yes. All the
right,
time.
Consistent.
Anthony.
Yeah, we are my better half is at the grocery store right now. But yeah, you can find us at the Common Sense Couple on Instagram, Facebook, and just Common Sense Couple on TikTok.
That's what's up. And also, you can find me here, obviously, but I'm on Instagram as well, Humble Dad Legacy. And that's it for now. I'm working on some things in the background. I said this in the back chat. I don't like to give all the things away, so I tell you what I'm working on and see if you all will be interested in being a part of it. Because I put on several different events, so I'm thinking about something. So I'll let y'all know what it is. Y'all can tell me. So it's going to be a little different every now and then. I'm going to ask questions, but I'm also have some videos that I'll be interested in hearing from you all's perspective. Now, it may or may not be related to the topic, but I still want to get your perspective on it, kind of change it up a little bit. All right. So we're going to start with the first question, or statement, I should say. Describe healthy fear. Describe healthy fear. And we'll start with Miss Jamie.
To me, healthy fear is the type of fear that still allows you to progress. So there's the unhealthy fear is the one that makes you go back to or stay stagnant. So you're scared of failing, or that fear of failing stops you from taking that leap and just trying it. And then if you didn't get it right, you know what I'm saying, assessing it and then trying it again. Unhealthy fear allows you not to even do it. You'll procrastinate and you'll make up excuses not to do it. So to me, healthy fear is kind of like, I'm scared, but I'm still going to push through this. Like, everybody gets scared when you're doing something that you don't know what the outcome can possibly be. So healthy fear still allows you, gives you a little bit of dopamine, a little adrenaline, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna still do it. So allow you to push through. That's my definition of that.
Okay. Who you got going next?
Let's go with Anthony.
Cool. Yeah, I'd have to agree with Jamie that it's the fear that doesn't paralyze you. It actually pushes you or drives you to take action, you know, because if you're not doing anything, you can't fail. You can't fail, you're not learning. So you just, like she said, you just stagnant, you just stand there. So you have to have some type of healthy fear to assess the situation, but move forward at the same time. And I would go with Miss Ash. Aries up.
Okay. I agree with both of y'all, Anthony and Jamie, because the healthy fear is where you step over that boundary. Like, sometimes you got to cross the boundary to move forward to get to the next level that you're trying to reach. Keep it short and simple. Y'all said everything. Come on, Lost in Translation. Get in here.
Thank you, ma'am. A healthy fear is pain avoidance. Now, I'll give you an example. Say, for instance, if you put your hand on the stove, you feel it, but also you respect it. You know, you don't let it just sit there and just start cooking. You see what I'm saying? So having a healthy respect for your person is a very healthy fear. You know what I'm saying? So you want to make sure that you survive. So one of those mechanisms is a healthy fear of pain avoidance. So that helps. That's the main reason why, you know, when people have when they're paralyzed or something like that and they can't feel anything can happen to them. So that's the main reason why they try to walk, you know, patients back from having traumatic experiences to the body, pain receptors, that type of thing. That's the reason why they prick their fingers to see if they can get them to, you know, feel something. So pain avoidance is very important, and that's a brand of healthy fear. And I'm going to go with Mr. Viral to finish this thing off.
Mr. Viral, are you there? Oh, there you go.
Yeah, my bad. I was doing something. Okay, the question was, what's a healthy fear?
Yes. How would you describe healthy fear?
I would say anything that makes you aware but doesn't cripple you. It doesn't paralyze you with the fear. That's how I would describe it, because it's a natural human instinct to feel that emotion or to feel that feeling, but I think it gets unhealthy when it cripples you and you're not able to excel or succeed past the feeling. You know what I'm saying? It stops you from taking action. So it's okay to feel it. I think it's healthy. I think it's a natural human emotion. It can help you avoid a lot of problems, but once it starts to cripple you, I think that's when you're reaching levels of unhealthy.
Yeah. The way I would describe a healthy fear is having a plan and knowing how to attack, you know, because every situation, not 100% guaranteed that it's going to work. So I would say that if you're able to put together a plan, then you still don't know if it's going to be 100%. So then you can execute from that position. That's what I would say. And then we got my homie, my friend coming to the stage, Mr. Dwayne Jones in the building.
Yo. What's going on, good people?
Man, you right on time. So the question that we have is to describe healthy fear. How would you describe healthy fear?
A healthy fear is respecting snakes. That's a healthy fear. Like, I'm sorry. Like, as for the discrimination against like deadly things a healthy fear is knowing what could kill you, right? And a poisonous snake could kill you, right? So there's some people out there that don't have that healthy fear, where they just go out there, the skydiving type. They love it. They seek that adrenaline rush. No. The adrenaline is for a specific purpose, and I don't want to test its limits. So yeah, that's my healthy fear.
Okay, that's what's up. So with that being said, since we have the definition, let's talk about where does fear come from then? Where does this fear that we're talking about come from? And we'll start with you, Mr. Lawson, translation.
Fear comes from an experience that you've had. You're recalling something that happened to you traumatic. It's like Dwayne said earlier, man. It's one of those things where you've had a bad experience or something, or you've heard somebody had a bad experience. That's one thing about humans. We can share stories that help us keep alive. You know what I mean? It's one of those situations where you tell them don't eat this type of mushroom or you'll die. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. So that's one of those things, a shared information, shared knowledge, previous experiences, keeping a record of what happened is one of those things that happens from time to time. So that's where that comes from. And I'm going to go with Ash this time.
Boy, you cold. You done took everything and left everybody the bones to pick over. Okay, whatever. Sometimes fear can come from inside you. Like you build something up with the anxiety. Let's say trying to go for a new job opportunity. Instead of you just going in and being yourself and trying to get it, you psych yourself out. You somehow you mix up the directions without reading carefully. Sometimes you put the fear in yourself about doing something new to where you stay in your safe zone. And I'm gonna go with the common sense couple over there. What was the question?
Where does fear come from?
Oh.
Fear comes from, I guess, the unknown, not knowing what to expect in a situation, what to expect in life. It could come from past experiences that didn't go well.
I would say it comes from a form of protection. Your brain is trained to keep you alive. So yeah, if it's not going to kill you, it's going to make you stronger. But yet some people don't even want to take the attempt to do the thing that's going to make them stronger. So yeah, I feel that the fear is designed to protect you, but as long as you just don't let it cripple you. Let's see. I will go with Mr. Viral.
Yeah, you all made great points. Fear comes from a number of different places. I believe, like you said, from lived life experiences, fear of the unknown. So a lot of fear we put on ourselves just from the unknown because we don't know the results of the actions that we're about to take. So the fear of the unknown, it could be caused by like a self-inflicted wound. And also I believe fear could be passed down through your DNA to where you don't even know why you're afraid of certain things. To where like you'll have a kid, I don't know if any of y'all got kids, but I got kids. My daughter's deathly afraid of birds. And I had no idea why, because she's never had a traumatic experience with the birds. So the only other explanation could be this is passed down genetically somewhere in another generation. Somebody had a traumatic experience with a bird and that got passed down to her to where she's 2 years old and I don't even know why. She can't even explain it. She's just afraid of it. So I think it could come through genetically, through your DNA, through your family history, and I believe through lived life experiences.
That's what's up. Who you got going next?
Who didn't go yet?
Dwayne and Jamie.
I'm gonna go with Dwayne.
Oh, righty. I agree with y'all. I really do. I'd also add to that the lack of faith. The lack of faith in something causes fear. Yeah, of course, the unknown, but also of course, failure. So, faith and failure. I'll go with those two. Come on with it, Jamie.
I'm just going to add to y'all's. I do believe that with parenting, we teach our kids fear, whether we realize it or not. So I'm gonna give it, for instance, when you have a baby and you put the baby on the bed and they're rolling, you know what I'm saying? Technically, they have no fear until they hit the floor on accident, or that baby's crawling and it could be crawling on the bed. It doesn't realize that that bed ends at a certain point. That baby falls off of the bed, and then we're like, no, you can't do that. Or baby goes and bites his friend, and you're like, baby thinks that it's a chew toy until it gets a whooping, and now it has a fear of doing that thing. So I think initially, which is still experiences, it starts off with the training that we are giving our kids a lot of times, which is protection, because somebody said protection, but it does it begins that fear factor early on. And I guess that's just my add on to everybody's stuff. So I think that sometimes we just kind of teach it a lot of times, not intentionally, you know what I'm saying? But it's a part of life.
Okay. So anybody have something else to add or take away? Or I say add to.
Yeah, I wanted to touch bases on what Mr. Viral said. He's absolutely correct. I can't believe I didn't say this, but the study of epigenetics states that you can actually pass fear on through your genetics. That is possible. I did a live. This is probably one of my first lives. We talked about the cherry blossom experience with mice and how certain mice were exposed to electric shock whenever they smelled cherry blossoms, and then their grandkids who had never been exposed to cherry blossoms exhibited stress whenever it was introduced to them, even though they weren't shocked. So that unknown sometimes can be passed on without even knowing. So he's absolutely correct. He's absolutely correct.
Yeah, the fear from your parents, that's a great point, because a lot of things that children aren't even afraid of, your parents will put the fear on them. Like your child, they could be walking home from school thinking nothing of the world, and you like, hey, just look out for strangers because they're kidnapping kids. And now, oh, excuse me, somebody was calling. So small things like that, parents think they're doing the best for their kids when really you're unintentionally crippling and harming your kids, to where you're alerting them of fears they probably never would have even thought about. And now you're plaguing their mind with that thought. I've even had to argue with family members, like my daughter and her cousins going to high school, and every bad experience you can possibly have, they're warning them, hey, look out for this, look out for this, look out for this. And I'm like, damn, all you telling them is the bad, and that's what they're going to go to school thinking about, and your thoughts create your reality. So that's going to eventually become their reality. Tell them the good, not the bad. Like, it's one thing to be cautious. It's another thing to be like overly cautious to where it's detrimental to their own existence, their own mental clarity. So parents got to be careful with that.
What y'all think about that?
I agree with Mr. Viral, because I could say I didn't know I was scared of heights. Didn't have a fear, but my grandmother, since I used to hang out with her, she's scared of heights. So anytime that we're going upside down, she's getting hysterical, and guess who's getting hysterical with her? Just out of control, because it's a taught thing. It's like we're scared. It's heights, being up heights. Like I got and it's not just me that was like that. I have another cousin. She want to fly somewhere, but of course, what was this flying require? Plane and getting off the ground. But you're scared of what? Heights. So I can agree with that. It is passed down, but I got over that real quick. Hey, we can fix that. There's things in the airport that can fix that. But anyway, yeah, I do believe that it is a taught thing that you can teach a kid into being scared of something that they don't really have a fear of. So that's why I kind of be mindful of what I say about certain things, because I don't want you to fear something new when it may works out better for you. Like, say because I didn't play music, but my oldest, she loved that trumpet to death, and might have to get another one. But I'm not putting the fear in of her not doing this and not doing that, because I don't know where that can take you. That's your talent. Sometimes we place fear in the wrong places, and you never know where that child could go.
Does anybody want to add on to that? I bet. So we have a common ground. Somebody has some noise in the background. So if you could just mute in between if need. Okay. So so far we have what fear is, and we also have where it comes from. And so before we talk about solutions, I want to talk about some other fears, right? And so we're going to start with the first fear, and it's connected to the show. Why are women afraid of marriage? Why are women? Now, you can say whatever you want to. And what I mean by that is, I'm not going to tell you what I mean by that. I'm going to just see how you how you see it, and then I'll explain at the end. All right. So is there anybody that will, I'll do this in the class, right? Is there anyone that would like to go first and then be able to call? Okay, Ash. Okay.
I'll go first.
Okay, bet.
I get this out the way. From what I heard, not my experience, is that people
Because there's never anyone on the panel. Go
it's
ahead.
really not. Why would it be me?
Shout out to Ricky.
You better look at this personality. But people are scared of losing themselves within the marriage. I don't know where this come from. I don't understand how that's possible. But it's like, for some reason, women get scared. They think they're going to become something other than themselves. Because often you do hear women say, once the marriage is over, oh, I lost myself in that marriage. I did this and I shouldn't have did that. I'm like, but why? What happened that made you change? But you never can get that particular why answer. But I would say that women scared to lose their actual person or personality or self-worth, something along that lines. And I'm gonna go with Mr. Barrow because he tried to beat me and it's not working.
Yeah, I actually talked about this on my show with some women. I believe women are afraid of
the name
failure.
of the show. What was the name of it so they can go see?
You know what? I actually got to look it up. I didn't title
Okay,
so
no
many
worries.
shows. I'm working on the footage for the next one. I'll look it up for you. But I believe women are afraid of failure. Every woman we've ever had on the show and talked to, their fear was always, well, what if this doesn't work? Never, not one woman we've encountered has ever thought about the best case scenario. It's always the worst case scenario. It's always, well, if I go in and I be this loving wife and I have kids, what if he cheats? Or what if he goes broke? Or what if he dies? It's like, damn, you thinking of the worst case scenario possible. And this is supposed to be the greatest thing of your life. Like, this is your life partner. And all you're thinking about is what can go wrong, never what can go right. And a lot of women are afraid deathly of competition. What if he finds somebody better? What if he finds somebody who looks better? Or what if he, you know what I'm saying? Is never, I'm gonna be the best woman I can be possible, to where I know for a fact, even if he finds somebody who looks better, younger, could cook better, got better sex, whatever, I know he's not gonna leave me. See, with men, when we get in a relationship, we put all the chips on the table. It's a gamble. We could crap out, but we take the gamble. Women, they don't really want to take the gamble. They'll even start to sabotage the relationship if things start going too right, because then they get afraid. Like, damn, this shit too perfect. What? Something got to be wrong. Now they looking for the red flags of what could go wrong instead of seeing what's going right and adding to that. So women are afraid of, number one, they're afraid of failure and they're afraid of competition. Like, if a woman knows another woman who's damn near on the same caliber as her is competing for you, a lot of women would just step back and just say, she got it. Or, I ain't competing with nobody, I'm number one. Really, they're afraid of losing that competition. But I'm going to pass it off. Who want to go next?
It's tight. You can go wherever you want to go, bro.
Let me go up top to the couple right here, man. I want to hear from them.
Anthony, Alicia, who going first?
Why are women afraid of marriage? I didn't know they were afraid of marriage. I didn't know they were afraid of marriage. Ever since I was a kid, it was like that's the thing. The marriage is for the little girl to have this big grand wedding. The daddy got to pay for it. I never heard fear or women, being afraid of marriage. So this is kind of new to me.
I would have to agree with that, but I mean, I'm sure that there are women that are afraid of marriage, or you have certain fears about getting married, and probably similar to the men, similar to fears that men may have, because I think that was Ash that said women fear losing themselves or losing their identity. And that does happen, especially when you after you have children, because you just kind of get caught up being a wife and a mom. But if you focus on being the best version of you every day, you can kind of prevent that from happening, or even prevent the fear of what if he leaves, what if he finds somebody better. Somebody is going to always look better than you or be smarter than you. So your focus really should be primarily, I need to be the best person I can be. I need to be the best woman that I can be. So that, I mean, if it does happen, if he does decide to leave, if he does find something better, I will love that for him because I love him. So if that's the best decision or that's what you feel like you need to do, that's fine. But I'm going to be okay because I was already focused on, you know, being the best version of myself. But when you find that partner that also works on being the best version of themselves, I think the both of you can be unstoppable.
That's what's up. Somebody that didn't have an answer, you gave a pretty good one.
Thank you.
So what, just to ask the question, you said that you didn't think that women are afraid of marriage because of all the things that they have, I guess the lifestyle that they have been brought up in. Is that what you were saying, Anthony?
Yeah, just the societal thing that you know, since childhood, that's usually the thing. The marriage is for the little girl to grow up, get a husband, a family, the house with the picket fence. Everything is for her. So I'd never seen little girls growing up to be afraid of marriage, or, you know, in the era that I came up in, born in the 80s, 90s, you know, teen 2000, like growing up in that era, it really wasn't present as far as marriage was concerned. You know, within the music, we all hip hop kids. So what, nobody talking about getting married in hip hop. So the society, the pressure is to just go along with that. So I just felt like I never seen that. I never seen women being afraid of marriage. If anything, it's like, what's taking so long? What are we doing? Why are you afraid? You got cold feet? My cousin them, they got married last week. We can go get married tomorrow. They went to the courthouse. Why are we waiting? You know what I'm saying? And then
you have say go to the courthouse.
Yeah, I mean, you got this power struggle going on at that point. You know, it's like now you comparing our relationship to something outside of us about something that is supposed to be special and unique.
That's what's up. I'm interested to see what some of the other people have to say. Who you all got going next?
I go with Lost.
Thank you, Anthony. I think the real reason why women are afraid of marriage is because they don't know what to do. I don't think they understand exactly what marriage is. The Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. And generally what happens is the Bible says when you get married, the two become one. You know what I mean? And what happens is I think people forget that they want to hold on to the old versions of themselves. But people don't realize when you become a part of a team, sometimes your role changes. I'll give you guys an example. When I played football, when I was a kid, in the street, I played the quarterback, you know what I'm saying? Because I was the tallest kid, you know what I mean? That type of thing. But when I started to play high school ball, my role had to change because I had to, play where I was most effective. So the coach is like, you're going to have to play left tackle, because you're going to have to protect the quarterback, so you're not going to be out there being, in front. Everybody knows the quarterback, the Mr. Popularity, this type of thing. But coach had to explain to me, he said, you know what, your role will have to change. Now, people won't notice you unless you mess up. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. The quarterback gets sacked. But here's the thing: a lot of times, what people don't realize is sometimes your role is not the glamorous role, but it's also the most important role. That's the main reason why the left tackle in football is probably one of the most, most paid for, or most expensive, or most paid for positions, because it protects the blind side of the quarterback. You see what I'm saying? Lawrence Taylor was the main reason why he did that, because when he tore up Joe Theismann's leg, all of a sudden everybody was like, hey man, when you build a team from scratch, the first thing you do is you get your quarterback, and the next thing you do is you got to protect them with your left tackle. You see what I'm saying? And people build teams from scratch that way. Well, here's the thing: a lot of times, what women feel the need for is that they don't understand their role. You know what I'm saying? When you become a part of a team, they don't necessarily have been trained to figure out exactly what their role is. See, think about it. They're coming into a relationship thinking, hey, I'm just the girlfriend or whatever. Okay, now you're a wife. So ask your question, what is the role of a wife? And they may not have been taught the role of a wife, or they'll say, hey, I'm a mom now. So they'll figure, hey, I'm no longer the girlfriend now, I'm the mom. Well, the problem is that you're still a part of the same team. Sometimes your role just changes, but your main role is to be wife. You see what I'm saying? And if your main role is wife, then after that, you can get the help that you need from your husband, because his role is to be over the family, to assist, with whatever it is that needs to be done, and to give guidance and that type of thing. So at that particular point, I think to speak to what Ashley says, sometimes people lose themselves. But at the end of the day, I think people are afraid because they don't understand what their new role is in the relationship. And I think that's something that probably needs to be discussed before you get married. So therefore, you eliminate the fear of what happens next, because that way you can get knowledge and wisdom and training to what your new role is. That's the main reason why people go to marriage counseling, is to say, hey, look, we're getting married. Here's my new role. I'm going to have to be, the economist, to make sure that we, keep the bills in track, make sure that we understand exactly, making sure we keep the kids healthy, make sure they understand exactly how we're going to educate them. How can I support my husband? Those are roles that have to be discussed. And then you have to also say, hey, how is my role going to change when it comes to dealing with my family, his family? Are you going to be the matriarch? What is as time goes on, how does your role evolve over time? So those are the things that I think women fear, is because they don't understand their role in a relationship up front. So they're looking for guarantees on what it is. They would rather ask for a guarantee versus to prepare themselves, so that way they can take on whatever that comes, whatever role may come or whatever problem may come. But I think a lot of times women look for guarantees because of security, which is understandable. Everybody wants to be secure, but the best part of security is having enough knowledge and wisdom and understanding to know that you can actually overcome whatever it is through preparation.
Man, what a close out statement right there for sure. Hey, who you got going next?
Let's go with Jamie.
I am going to add environment. So some people, or a lot of women, have seen marriages, but they weren't quite happy marriages. So a lot of times we do have a fear of recreating what we've only seen. We don't know what a functioning relationship or marriage looks like kind of like what Lost was saying. So instead of having that conversation, we either do what Mr. Viral says, which is self-sabotage, or just back all the way out. He's too good to be true type situation. And so that's all I'm going to add is just what, like, for instance, I could say personally, my mom and my dad had a semi-good relationship, but there was things about my dad that I was like, I don't want to pick a man quite like him because of the not good parts, right? But then, but there were so many great parts. Does that make sense? But I don't want the other. And so my fear was that always picking the other, because I was so focused on that. And I think somebody said that when in fear, you keep on, somebody keeps on pointing out the bad things, you end up only seeing those. Does that am I making sense when I'm saying that? So, all right, that's my answer. Okay.
Dwayne, on you.
Oh man, those were all good. I'd have to go with. I thought they weren't. I'm with Anthony. I thought they prepared their whole lives for that day, right? They stretched out, they limbered up. They wasn't about to pull no hammy. They had everything going for them. That's what I thought, right? Until I get into these spaces and I get into other spaces and I find out that people they weren't prepared. So I think it was you, Laws, that's talked about that preparation. I liked what you said, Jamie, about environment. Because yeah, the lack of preparation and your environment and you getting yourself into a commitment. And from what my friend Prototype has told me about that accountability, that A word, it may be tough once you get in there and you realize that you didn't prepare enough. Because what you prepare for, you prepare for. But there are certain things you just can't prepare for. And what happens when that happens? Oh my goodness. I'm gonna leave it on that.
What you mean you gonna leave it on that?
I'm
Like
gonna leave it on that.
it's not a closeout statement, bro.
Hey,
A comma.
because my apologies, but it's simple. Like if you don't prepare and you get in there, right? What is your character like? Because who initiates more divorces?
Women.
Is it the men or is it the women?
It's women.
It's women. So whenever times get tough, did you prepare for that?
Ah,
And if you didn't prepare for it, like look where we're at now. Like they're seeing it, right? They're hearing about their friends and all this other. They're seeing the divorces, and why wouldn't you be fearful of that? But guess what? They possibly, maybe it's them. Maybe they're thinking, maybe it's them. It's not me. I don't have nothing to work on. I don't have to prepare for that. That's my 2 cents. I'll back out on that. See, look, you done messed around, got me in trouble.
that's what's up. Listen, first of all, that's called not having accountability because I didn't do nothing. You made your own statement, bro.
I appreciate that, sir.
Hey, and you know we have these conversations different times throughout the course of the week. But the reason why I asked this question, and what was interesting to me when I heard it from Cruise Season's podcast was because what he was trying to say was that women are really connected to what Anthony was saying, that they're ready for the wedding, but not the marriage. Right. So there's a lot of conversation about that one day. They want to go find the dress. I mean, they even made a TV show just to go find the dress, right? The engagement ring has to be substantially nice because, you know, got to show off to my friends because that's really what it looks like to love me based on how much money you spent on me. But then they also began to see individuals talking about their marriage and that marriages work. So when they hear that marriages work, not all, right? When they hear that marriages work, that means, okay, that I got to do something different. That means that I got to be somebody that I wasn't prepared to be. But as you all said, that, you know, fear comes from a place, it could be hereditary. So there have been individuals that our parents and uncles and aunts, grandparents that didn't do a good job of preparing us for what marriage looks like. What I've seen from the older women is that they've taught their daughters to pursue education and to pursue their own life before marriage is even in the forefront because of how they view their own marriage. And these are the same individuals that would say that they believe in Jesus Christ and they want to be traditional. And so, and I thought that was interesting. So, yes, it is true that the fear is understandably so. For me, I can see why a woman would be afraid to be in a marriage because now you're going to have to do something different than what you're used to. But I would also say that it allows you to become the person that you're supposed to be. Because women, you were designed to be a helpmate to a man. You were not designed to go get a career. That's not how God planned it, right? Now he's not saying that you can't have one, but that's not the goal. If you look at Proverbs 31, woman, she was working. She was a boss lady, if you will, right? And she was selling things, and she was spoken of in high regard when it came to her husband and the friends that were around him. But so it's like being a mother and being a wife and doing doing a good job at it. There is no higher achievement in God's eyes, considering that's what He designed you to do, right? So I think that it's important for women to realize that the only way to get better at something that you fear is what Lost said, is to prepare for it. There's so many ways to go find good marriages. It's up to you to go do that, though. I mean, here's one space, but you got Anthony and Alicia is a solid space. Jamie is talking to women about how were you not prepared? Like, what was missing, right? Mr. Viral talks about it on his platform as well in different spaces. It's a lot of content out here where people are talking about what a good marriage looks like. Let me see. I think there was a clip that I wanted to show. Let me see if I have it. And this was from pretty popular dude.
Some of y'all need to love your husband the same way that he needs to be loved, not the way that you need to be loved. Here we go. Let's go deeper. Some of y'all need to love your husband even though you feel like he don't deserve it. Because the grace and the favor and the mercies that God, some of y'all need.
Right. So what do y'all think about that particular clip? Now, he says a lot, but I didn't want to play a lot of what he said. That some of you women need to love in the position of grace, right? Like Dwayne was saying, women, if it gets hard and they hadn't prepared for it, now it's time to quit. Now it's time to give up. So what's your take on, and I'll play it again so you can see what he said. It's 15 seconds.
Some of y'all need to love your husband the same way that he needs to be loved, not the way that you need to be loved. Here we go. Let's go deeper. Some of y'all need to love your husband even though you feel like he don't deserve it. Because the grace and the favor and the mercies that God.
All right. So what y'all think?
I'll go first.
Okay, and look at you. Listen, you should be
I'm
proud of
first to
yourself.
arrival now. First to arrival.
Twice?
Don't act up. But anyway, this is what I always say. You need to love someone at the level. That's why I say, like, I need you to learn how to love me, because you need to learn how to love me when it's a hard time, and women need to do the same with their husband, because if you know how to love that man through a rough day, you can get him back to 100%. You can get goals accomplished without the nagging and the bickering. That's what people don't understand. I think a lot of times, like Lost in Translation said, we don't put it in the work. Like, we're not prepared for the bad day. We're only prepared for the vacations, the pictures, the family outings. We're not prepared for them lonely days when maybe he got to work an extra shift, but you think he cheating because Chloe husband done slept around 2 times and went around the neighborhood slinging that thing like a boomerang. I'm just saying, that may not be your man. And a lot of people don't understand that. Just like women didn't see a good relationship, some men didn't see a good relationship, or some men battle being their father. And that's a thing that I had to battle with in the dating pool, is because men don't want to be their father. I get that. I understand completely. But at the same time, what about your dad makes him a good dad? Everything just can't be bad. Because from what I've seen with some guys, the dad is A100 to me, but you may not have the best relationship, but what are you doing to fix it? What are you doing to change the narrative? Because if you don't change the narrative, how are you going to be not your dad in your home? That's what people don't understand. You start trying to not be something so bad till you don't realize that you're becoming it the whole time that you're doing the fight. So I agree with him. Yeah, you need to be able to love your man at his level. Not saying that you're supposed to bow down and do all this other kind of craziness. If you got some craziness going on, that's between you, him, and Jesus. Y'all need to work it out. However, you need to be able to love your man in his love language to pull him out of dark days, because everybody has a dark day. It may not hit you today, it may not hit you in 3 months, but somebody gonna mess up his day in a way that you need to be on your wifely duty to pull him out of it. He may lose, somebody special. People die left and right as you get older. So you need to be able to stand by him and let him know, I got you. And I think that's the biggest problem, is that men do not feel safe with women because we're out as now to take what we can get so we look good. It's not a union no more. It's about the individual.
That's what's up. Hey, welcome to the show, Prototype. How you doing, bro?
Man, living a dream. That's all.
That's what's up. Let me get you in on this, man. We talking about the previous question was why are women afraid of marriage? You got a take on it? Why are women afraid of marriage?
Because they don't want to be slaves. They think they think that being married is slave, right? They only do it for provisioning. You know what I'm saying? They don't do it for love. I said all the time that men are more about love than women are. You know what I mean? I know it's media feeds us that women are about love, but men want to be loved. Men want to be genuine. You know what I'm saying? Women, they're just doing it for provisioning because in their head, they could be single if they got money. You know what I'm saying? So I could do it by myself. You know what I'm saying? So I think they're afraid of just, being ruled over, so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I would say.
Interesting. They're afraid of being ruled over. Okay, so this is the clip. Did anybody want to add to that or say something to the Prototype on that? Or you agree, disagree?
I would say that goes into what I said earlier, that they lose themselves, is their identity is deleted. They have to be whatever the man say. I ain't really ready to fight him yet. He just
that's what they miss is everybody changes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they're like, I don't want to lose my identity. Like, screw your identity. Like, become something better. Like, when you become a Christian, you lose your identity to be a Christian and be like Christ. You know what I'm saying? It's all about losing your fleshly identity. You know what I'm saying? And going against that, having better judgment. And they be so stuck on, I lost myself. I don't want to lose myself. Screw that. That was a terrible person anyway.
If you say you're trying to be a better version of yourself, right?
Watch your neck.
What you got, Dwayne?
What I find crazy about the slavery thing is women, the same thing that they brag about when they're single, working and having a career, having a job and being independent, they then turn around and say that that's slavery once they're married. Like, oh, I got to work and pay bills. I'm slaving. That's slavery. I got to be a wife and pay bills. It's like, wait a minute. I thought you loved your career. I thought you loved working and making money and paying bills, because that's what you've been bragging about the last 5 years. I pay my own bills. I buy my own shit. But now that you get in a marriage and now it's teamwork, make the dream work, you don't want to be a team player no more. Now you a fucking slave. Like, where's the logic? It don't make sense. You can't brag about it over here, but then over here, it makes you a slave. Like, which one is it? Are you a slave or not? Because if you're a slave in a marriage with a job, you're a slave single with a job and a career. So I always found that crazy.
That is
social media brainwashing, if you ask me.
Very interesting thought. Dwayne, what you got?
Oh, man. Earlier, Lost in Translation was talking about becoming one. And I think that becoming one means that you got to shed pieces of yourself. And I think in that shedding process, that hurt, right? And I think if you've been in a position where you just, you've been shielding yourself from hurt, and then you get into marriage and you realize you got to make changes, right? I think that's a grimy thing to face, is that change, like having to change. Or better yet, like somebody revealing to you there's a grimy part of you, right? And it's like not willing to even face that. So because you don't want to face the reality that you ain't all that, like you don't have it all together, that pride and that fear will then force you in the other direction. So that coming to one, like I think that change process as they're changing for each other. So there's changing, but I think sometimes people harden themselves And in that hardening process, like, they think they're changing for the better, but it's like, no, you are hardening because you don't want to change. And in that, you may end up making a relationship worse. But then in that relationships, you have to consistently, in my opinion, change for each other, but not just any change, like change for the better, because you're serving each other. So whenever you have that serve, oh, I'm going to be a servant, or I'm going to be a slave, like, there's a difference, right? Like, you signed up for this, right? Slavery, like, you didn't sign up for it. Like, being a servant, though, you signed up for that. So you have to, again, know your role. And that's on both sides. We should be, as for the coming to one, we are coming to one to serve each other.
That's good. Hey, Anthony and Alicia, I saw y'all sit up. Who got something they want to say?
No, I was just getting some water. But
Listen, when you sit up, hey.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
What do you think? Go ahead. What do y'all think, either based on what's being said or either the clip that was shown?
Oh, the clip is the truth. I agree with the clip.
Tell me
I
why.
agree with what he said, because I had seen a post that says, beware of how people treat you when they're at their highest. You know, and I was like, that is very, very important. But then I was like, what about when they're at their lowest? You know, can she still love him with grace when she's not feeling herself? You know, can she still give that love when she's not feeling like, I got it, I'm 100? Can she do that when they're both broken at the same time? When he really desperately needs that, can she find that within herself to give that to him? You know, we've been in situations like that. Recently, I had a time, but it was a day where I just was not feeling it. And no matter what I tried to do, I couldn't get out of it. It was something spiritually on me. And she recognized that. She knew it. She was like, look, just lean on me. I'm here. And I didn't know what she was going through, because I was so caught up in my own shit to even ask her, are you okay? But she was like, I'm here for you. And she gave me space that day. She took the kids out, and she was like, when she got back, she let me know again, I'm here, lean on me. And at that moment is like, I didn't say I snapped out of it, but it eased the process of me coming back and getting back present to where we could be harmonious, versus me just like being in a funk and keeping myself there, because I'm the only one that can keep me there. It was nothing that she did. She's doing nothing but try to help. So yeah, I truly believe that, you know, you can love a man with grace where he needs to be, meet him where he's at, but can you find that still within yourself when you're not feeling it?
Yeah. Did you want to say something, Miss Alicia?
I do believe that women, there was something that I read, it was years ago. Somebody asked Oprah why she wasn't married, or why she didn't want to get married, or something like that. And she said, because being a wife is a responsibility. Like, that's different than just being a girlfriend or a longtime girlfriend. It's a responsibility. I have a responsibility to this man. Like, if anything happens to him, I'm the first person that they are going to look for, that they're going to contact. Is he married? Okay, that's who we need to talk to above anybody else. Kid, mom, is your spouse. So for somebody to entrust that, like to say, I want to marry, you, that's deep. Like, that's not something to be taken lightly. Like, whatever happens to me, this is the person that is responsible. So in that, and of course that's like a extreme situation, but just throughout life, you have to carry that, like through a marriage. I'm responsible for him. So I'm responsible for making sure that he's okay, that he has what he needs, and vice versa. So it's like we can kind of feel if, hey, you know what, I got about 50% energy today. All right, baby. You know what I'm saying? I got you. I got you. And it just goes, back and forth. Like you have to have that. So I think like if there is a fear of being married, is because it is a great responsibility and it can't be taken lightly.
That's really good. That's really good. It cannot be taken lightly. I think y'all all kind of land on the same path of that. The fear is the responsibility, and if you think about it from a position of a job description, right? You go down the job description. Prototype talks about the company, right? So if I'm saying that I want to be married, then I got to look at what the job description is. And in some regard, as we're talking about women, we'll talk about men in just a moment. What you all are saying is that they go down this job description and they don't see how they can fit this job description. So they would rather remain jobless or find a different way of being in a relationship outside of being married. Interesting. So that means that you probably need to go get some more qualifications, right? If I want this job, then I need to look and see these qualifications of what it is to be a wife. And I need to either go to counseling, I either need to go read some books, I either need to be around some people that are also trying to pursue what it is that I'm trying to pursue. I need to stay away from dudes that's not operating from a marriage perspective. I need to stay away from girls or women that are not thinking marriage minded. Like I gotta clear out a lot of things in order to get to the job. Is what is the goal. That's what I'm hearing, and that's a really good spot. So I want to transition to then why are men afraid of divorce? So we got the part where women are afraid to be married. I want to talk about why do men fear divorce, and we'll start with Mr. Prototype.
It depends on the man for real. But I would say a lot of men get married because they didn't have many options to go outside for real. They didn't have fun outside. And it's it's a lonely life. So there's some guys that are afraid to be alone. You know what I mean? I've seen it both sides where some dudes get divorced and it's like, yo, best decision I ever made. And then on the flip side, it's like, oh, I'm losing half my stuff, or I'm gonna be lonely, or I'm depressed. I don't know. It depends on the guy. I wouldn't say that's a general thing. Guys are afraid of divorce. I would say that guys with no options are afraid of divorce. But for guys who have options, I think they see it as a joyous time. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I look at it.
So just around what you're saying is that men that have options are not afraid to be divorced.
Nah.
Even though the dudes that get married that have options typically don't get divorced. Because the woman is the one that's initiating the divorce.
That's a skewed thing too, right? Because men will give you it's men will give you a very, we don't necessarily, like, if a man leaves you, you're terrible. We don't leave. We just give you the very least of ourselves to where, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, men treat girls bad just to make them leave, and then girls just put up with the abuse. And we're like, dang, you still putting up with this abuse?
I'm not disagreeing with that minutia of a point, right? If you look at what the data says of why they leave,
they're pushing girls to divorce them.
If you go look and see why women are leaving, is one, I can see what you said, infidelity, right? The other one is communication. The other one is finances.
Listen,
those are the top three.
every man don't cheat, right?
I know.
It's
The
so it's
majority of men don't cheat.
here's what I'm saying, right? I had a prior situation where I was engaged, and in that I knew I wasn't going to be happy, and I was like, well, she don't deserve my best. I'll just work in the warehouse and give her the minimal of me. But I seen that as too depressing of a life. So men will do that. They'll give you a shell of themselves, and they won't communicate. They'll sit on the couch. They'll get fat. It'll just be a lifeless situation, and just wait for the woman to leave. And if she never leaves, then that's just they will sit in misery. You understand what I'm saying? So not all men will go outside. Some men will just become a shell, and that's miserable too.
I agree with what you're saying. I'm just saying, but the majority of the situation, those things do happen, but the majority of the things, think about it for a moment. If women are filing, then they have to give a reason. Okay, it's like, I mean, I haven't been divorced or nothing like that, but in order to get that information, the woman had to have said the reason of why there is a divorce. And their number one thing was infidelity, money, and communication. And one of the finances would probably have to do with could have gotten better, right? Communication could have gotten better as well. But as it relates to infidelity, that doesn't even happen as a high of a clip as being stated, because the majority of dudes, like 75% of dudes, is being faithful, just period.
But if he doesn't want to give you that, if he
Right. But
becomes
if
a
he
shell
doesn't
of
want to,
himself,
what's the shell of it? So you talking about not communicating?
he won't communicate. He won't press on. He'll do the very minimum at work. He won't make more money because he feels she don't deserve that version of him. So
Okay.
if there's that, if I feel like I'm with a woman that don't deserve who I am, who
Yeah.
I could be, then I'm only going to give you. I'm gonna work at the grocery store, stocking shelves at night, and do the very minimum. I won't be a good dad. I won't be a good husband. I'll be married, but I'll be a shell of who I really could be. I wouldn't be tapping into any of my potential.
I feel you. Let's get some other people in here. Who you want to get next?
Let's go with Loss.
Uh-oh.
You know, I've been waiting on this one. I didn't get a chance to touch on the other one, but I'm gonna transition into this one. The reason why men afraid of divorce is because women aren't who they say they were. And I'll give you an example. There's Anthony and Alicia can probably speak to this if I'm not mistaken. There's a certain level that you get to with your partner where you can no longer hide who you really are. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times people like to get into relationships and hide who they really are instead of actually showing that person who they are, because they're afraid that if they find out who they really are, they may not love them. And inside of that love, you know what I mean, is a place where it's a place where you get to be vulnerable. You see what I'm saying? And that love is where security is. But the problem is that we rarely get to that place where I can say, hey, this is who I really am. And now it's up to that other person to love you regardless of who you are. So when you get to that particular point where you're vulnerable, saying, hey, I'm going to choose to love you in spite of, I'm going to choose to love you because of who you are, not because of what you've done, that type of thing, is because I choose to love you regardless of who you are. If you can get to that point, that is where security is. But the problem is many couples never get to that point. It's like, it speaks to what Prototype said. He didn't feel comfortable sharing who he was with that woman because of whatever past presentation she did of herself or how she's handled a particular situation in the past. So he's just said, you know what? I'm just going to take my hands off the wheel, and whatever happens, happens. But the problem with that is that you never really get a chance to allow that other person to love you past who you are, because that's where the magic happens. As you can tell, look how they're looking. They'll tell you at some point there's in your relationship, in your marriage, where you can no longer hide who you are. You can't hide from each other. You see what I'm saying? This is who I am. And if at that point they choose to love you, that's when that level of love is really unlocked. And I think the problem is that we have a problem where we're not being vulnerable enough soon enough so that person can make a judgment. You see what I'm saying? Because there's always this fear, as if I show this person who I really am, they may not love me. And it factors into that security part, which actually activates the real love in a relationship. Anthony and Alicia, is that not correct?
Yeah, it's definitely correct. Definitely correct. That vulnerability is really, in my case, that's all I really wanted to do was, you know, have a woman that I could be vulnerable with. I was actually in the position that Prototype was speaking of, but I didn't stay. I couldn't stay because, like Loss was saying, you can't hide from you. You can't hide that. In that previous relationship, I could no longer hide from myself. Hey, man, I'm not happy. This ain't working. So I couldn't just stay and sit. And we had a child together. So I told her, I said, look, man, I'm not going to be able to give you 100%. I know you're not giving me 100% because I know what's going on. I'm not going to be able to give you 100 and it's not going to work. And we can't stay together for the sake of the child because it's going to break her. It's not going to be healthy. So I'm going to leave because me being unhappy is going to tear all this shit up. So I'd rather go and maybe you can find some happiness and some love within you, but I got to get out of here because I love me more because I'm not going to put myself through that. You know what I'm saying? And once we connected and she met me where I was at, like I was on my ass at my lowest. There was nothing for me to front for. So she seen me at my bottom and she still loved me through that. And I had this wall up because before she came around, I was prepared to be alone. I was making preparations in my life to just be a gigolo. Straight up. You know what I'm saying? I'm a send her some money. You know, like I was gonna send my daughter's mother money. I'll take care of my kid, but I'm out here and I don't need a wife. And I was prepared for that. But a lot of men don't have that conversation with themselves. Like people came to our wedding to see if I was getting married. My mother told us, like, I didn't think he was ever gonna get married. It was real shit. I was not playing that game. You know what I'm saying? I was out hard cold. Like this is where I'm at. This is what I'm doing. But luckily, God had different plans for me, and now we here talking to y'all.
How long y'all been married? Is it 8?
It'll be 8 July 23rd.
Look at me remembering. That's what's up. Good job. That's what's up. Shout out to y'all. So you were afraid. So do you want to add to that, Alicia?
Add to what?
You came into the point of where he was afraid to be married, but you transitioned it for him to visualize he could be married. Like that's a crazy 180. Can you speak to that?
Yeah. Because when we reconnected, I say reconnected because I knew him in high school. But we didn't date in high school. We was just cool. So years later, when I saw him again on Facebook and we reconnected, we just never stopped talking. So he seemed like a bachelor. He was like a hard bachelor. However, I never put the expectation on him, you know, like I never was like, yeah, so because for one, I was divorced. I had been divorced from my first husband, so I wasn't like, okay, let me be in a rush to do this again. I wasn't. I really genuinely just wanted to get to know somebody. And he just was really cool. He was very authentic, very solid, even though he was going through what he was going through. So as time progressed, he showed me that he was taking this seriously. I didn't ask, or I wasn't like pressuring him.
there were some things that he was used to doing that he just stopped doing. He decided, okay, I can't do that and be serious with you. So he just stopped. He made moves and signs and signals that I am taking this relationship seriously. And when he decided to propose, he proposed. But it, you know, that might have been a long time for somebody else, or you know what I mean, for another woman. It just was never a pressure thing. But within, deep down, I knew that he was going to marry me. Like, I knew that. I just kind of knew this ain't going to carry on for 10 years. Like, so I can't really explain it, but that's how it went.
So when y'all had the conversation, did he tell you that he didn't really want to be married? Was that a conversation, or that was just something, Anthony, you just had in the back of your mind?
I don't think it wasn't that. It wasn't even that I was afraid of marriage. It's just I've always wanted to be married since I was a child. I didn't grow up in that environment, so this life that I'm living now was a dream to me because I didn't see that at all. You know what I'm saying? So I attracted it. I always wanted to be married, regardless of me man whoring, whatever I was doing. It was there, but I was prepared for it not to happen if it didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? That's all it was. It was like, look, I'm just gonna live this life. And there will be no commitments. Look, what are we doing? Because that's how I was as a bachelor. Like, are we getting to it or are we not? Because I don't have time to be talking to you or you playing. Look, man, I got somebody else I could be calling right now. You wasting time. You know, it was really like that. So yeah, a lot of people got cut off. It was cold. You know what I'm saying?
So what made her be the one to cut off everybody? Now, this is my transition, right? So I'm asking the question because I want women to hear the things that they probably are not hearing. Because if you leave it to a lot of women, they will say that there is not good men out here to be able to choose from. You feel me? Right? So, but here is an individual. I'll set it up like this. Here's a man that is saying that I'm cool with being a bachelor to the day that I rest. However, here comes along a woman, changes the dynamic of my thinking to be like, oh, I see that I'm not going to have to do what I thought I was going to do, and I can achieve the dream that I had once thought about as a youngster. Can you help us out with that?
It was just like a natural progression, you know. I'll liken it to this. Like, I used to drink a lot of Pepsi, a lot of soda, and never understood why I was thirsty all the time. Because I didn't have any water going into my system. So as I began to work this job at General Motors, I'm working, but I'm always thirsty. So once I cut the soda out, now I'm drinking water more. Now I'm actually losing weight, but it just happened. You know, I just got tired of being thirsty. So it was organic between us, you know. So she started showing me, because I picked up, like, when you a bachelor and you dealing with a lot of women, you pick up on shit. So she was doing everything the opposite of what these other women was doing. So I was seeing that. And I also told my daughter's mother, once we were, you know, splitting everything, we trying to figure it out. I was like, I'm not going to be with a woman that's not going to be able to love my child like I love my child. And nobody met my child. Like, throughout all the women I was dealing with, nobody ever seen her. My child only knows her mother and her. And so once my wife came into the picture and they did meet and she built a relationship with her, and I seen that she really, really loves her. So I'm like, oh man, this is it. Like, why fight it? You know what I'm saying? It just flowed. Even getting the ring, it just flowed. Like, I didn't have any anxiety about any of that. So it was just an organic process. That's all. She organically gave you peace. There you go. Because I had no peace. Yeah, I had no peace in my life. You know, so much. It was ugly. I appreciate the transparency. And I know other people haven't gone yet. So if you can get, who y'all want to go next? Jamie. Let's go, Jamie. Why
are men afraid of divorce?
So I'm learning right now too, but I always thought it was failure, like the fear of failing or losing. Because, I always like to say men are taught more, they play sports, and losing, even if it's a marriage that you don't want to be in, kind of sucks. And that's just what I always thought. So I'm learning different things here. And I may be wrong, but I always just attributed it to be failure or the fear of failing and not liking to lose, even if it's probably something you didn't want. It's something that you signed up for, and nobody likes to lose. You know what I'm saying? So that's Ash. Did Ash go? Did you go?
No, but to answer your
Okay.
question, that's a good point. That's similar to what Prototype was saying, that women don't want to lose. That's why they don't like the marriage. They don't want to compete. So that's a fear for sure. Go ahead, Ash.
I guess I could say quitting, because that's always my thing. They don't want to quit. They rather, like Prototype was saying, they rather for the woman to just walk out. So it's like, I did initiate it. I did what I did. I did what I could. She wanted to leave. I'm gonna leave it right there, because I don't like to quit. Like, if I really have to break up with you, I had to introduce you with everybody, I'm gonna be very upset, be very hostile. And that's how I take that. But I really feel like it's like, dang, if she leave, it's all right, because I did what I did. I gave it the good old try. That's her problem. It's her. And like I said, 99.9% of the time I'm wrong.
Who you? I don't think you said that you was wrong tonight. Just by the way,
I told y'all go see it. Dwayne, you ain't went, right?
No, not yet. But I like the reverse psychology, though. I like what you did there. My goodness, that's like, I'm right. Oh man. But yeah, I'll put it like this. I wrote down keywords I heard y'all say was vulnerability, and marriage is all about vulnerability. So why are men afraid of divorce? Failure, right? If you're a man and you commit to something, there's a difference between failing and quitting. And I'm glad that both y'all said that. One said failure and one said quit. Man, there is a difference. There's a difference. Quitting is something you do voluntarily. Failure, there's many circumstances that might surround that may not even involve you. So in that, I look at it from that standpoint. It's like, yeah, failure is involved in it, but then that's the risk we take, and that's a part of that vulnerability. In that, we're taking a risk on choosing you. So once we make that choice, guess what? Why would we make it easy for ourselves to back out? Because we don't like to fail. We don't like to quit. And in that, it's like those are two things that, right? Once we focus on what's really at hand, it's like we are problem solvers. So guess what? Any obstacles that may come up, like if we are good men, if we're about that business, we're gonna make every effort in order to salvage whatever may come trying to damage it, right? So I just look at it from that point. But I also want to add this: people come into marriages with masks on, right? And the thing about it is, like, we don't realize that it's a front. Take that mask off, be vulnerable, and let's work with what we got. Let's work with what we got instead of trying to fabricate some BS, because you could do so much more with the truth than with a lie. And that's all that mask and fabrication does. So I can carry on. My bad.
Anybody got something to add to what? Go ahead.
I was gonna say character, but it didn't line in this, so I wasn't gonna get it. But I agree with Dwayne on that one. He got a little riled up with us on what that.
He did get a little riled up.
But I would say yes, because I was thinking about this earlier. It's like, reason why most of our relationships fail, I'm just gonna speak from me, really, is that people think that I'm putting on a front. No, this is what life has brought me to be. This is how I conduct myself. And I feel like I track characters. Like, you feel like I want this type, but you haven't got to know what I actually want. you're portraying what you think, and that's not right. Like, get to know what I want, and then we can see if we can work with it. But if you're putting on a character, you're going to always feel tired, unappreciated, because I'm loving the character that you put forth. I'm not loving you. I'm loving this character that you're saying you are. And like you say, down the line, you'll get tired. That mask, that characterization, all of all them good filters gonna come off. You're gonna move and they're gonna come, and I'm gonna see who you are, And I was just, like I said, I really was just thinking about this earlier. Like, people don't date genuine no more. It's like we gotta put on, like they say, women put all the hair on, the nails, the lashes, and all this, and go out in this character to attract what she thinks she wants. But again, you're not going out being, as I said, a couple podcasts ago, naked. Go out, be your actual genuine self. Then you may get some better results. That's why I say I cannot never say that there's not good men out there, because why? I know some good men. Hey, I just didn't pick one of them. Hey, that's my bad. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and bash every man just because I don't have a little bad luck. I have to learn how to not fall in love with that character, that avatar that comes first. You got to see beyond that, because my dark days is not always I'm having trouble on the bus. Maybe it's I'm broke. Maybe it's I can't go get my lobster and shrimp to cook for the kids today. Maybe it's something more simple that I'm blowing out of proportion. Maybe I'm just having one of them womanly days where I'm just, everything is just a mess and I can't deal today. Okay. Maybe I just need a little drink and then I can calm down. But you got to be able to come in and be able to assess the situation. Because Lost in Translation done said this, sometimes I just want to be heard. I don't need you to fix, I just want you to hear it. So I can hear what I actually need to do to fix this myself, because it's not a problem for you to fix. It's something for me to fix, And I'm going to stop acting like Dwayne right now. Y'all got it.
Oh my goodness. What did I do to you?
Well,
It's just your turn to be picked on. That's all. We all get a turn. So I'm back with a vengeance. Our fight night.
That's what's up. Hey, did everybody get to say what they wanted to say on this particular?
You know what? I'm actually go ahead and jump on back in here.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. But back to that mask thing and the vulnerability, it is so. Somebody made a point about men don't wear makeup, women do. And it's like, why do women wear makeup? Why is it that women wear makeup? But then it's like, I want to love you for who you are. Why are you covering up who you are? And sometimes, again, that mask really covers up who you are, and then it throws off a signal. So sometimes women will say that, hey, I married you, and you're not who I thought you were. And it's like, cue the mirrors. Cue the mirrors. Somebody cue the mirrors, okay? Because it's like, hey, it could be a two-way street, but it's like, I think even from what Jamie said earlier about that environment, let's be real. I'm so sorry to do this, but men's idea of marriage, where do they get that from? Women's idea of marriage, where do they get that from? Which one is grounded in reality? And I'm saying it from the majority of people that get their idea of marriage from the media, from the extra, from and it's all about glitz and glamour and you make me happy and all these things. And I'm like, that's not what it's about. Because if it's about happy wife, happy life, what about the man? What about the man that's for the service? So that's I'm gonna fall back on that one. My bad. But I was just curious about those things.
Did you have a question, or you were just making a statement?
No, it's like, yeah, like societal versus like men grooming. So like in the same thing with the makeup. That's it. Are we doing a service as our society as for preparing women for marriage? Like, it's a fairy tale.
Why would they do that?
Well, that's a good question.
Marriage does not provide the society the goal that they want to reach. If you separate us, we are weaker. If we're together, and we're stronger. Why would they want us to be strong? And so if we could get, I'm gonna say, if I can get individuals to understand that marriage is a building block and it's something that is a part of bringing the community together, and it's also ordained by God. Like, how is it that you say you're a believer in God? We saw the solar eclipse today. Like, I don't understand how people just gonna be like, yeah, that just happened. You know what I'm saying? Like if you witnessed that and was like, I still just don't see how God could exist. I just really think something wrong with you personally, but that's just me. I'm just saying that for men that are afraid of divorce, you're already going at it wrong. Because as we talked about in the beginning, what fear looks like, there's a healthy fear, right? Everything that you're going to do has a rate of, failure to it, but it also is an opportunity to succeed. Married men do better than single men as it relates to health, finances, emotional stability. And then when you're married, your kids are it's different living in a marriage than when they're just living together. Like the study shows that just because you living with the person that you created a life with, don't make it better for that kid, because the kid is still going to have the mental, going to have a weaker mind to say, you know what, like there's an instability here. Like, what do I do with this? When you are married, man, and you're doing well to her, it's not always going to be great, but God honors you because you're doing what you're supposed to do. Now, I can't talk to the person that doesn't believe in God. I'm talking to the person that says that they're a believer in God and they want to live in that space. Of course, you got to vet, and that's hard to vet if there's masks being worn. That's on both sides. But I would say, as a man that is following God and trying to live a life in such a way, then how you serve your wife, you'll see something totally different. I'll challenge people to read the book Fireproof. Can't think of the guy's name. Michael Key, I think it was Michael Seaver that was on Growing Pains. What's his name? Can't think of his name. But he wrote a book called Fireproof. It's a movie as well. And in the book, it's referring to how to serve your spouse, even when you feel like they don't deserve it. Right? Because God serves us on a regular basis, and we don't deserve it at all. The grace or the mercy that he provides to us. So I think that it's important for people that are saying that they're believers to get into the Bible. You can check out Ephesians for sure. You know what I'm saying? Get you some of that Song of Solomon. Anybody read that? Go check that out. That's that intimacy right there, bro. And just understand that there's going to be hills and valleys, but your attitude is what determines how you maneuver through those hills and valleys. And I appreciate everybody that comes on the platform and provides their take, because I learn as well from you all. And the more that we are on the same page and trying to get to the same destination, I think that we'll reach more people than people are expecting to. So before we get out of here, you know what I'm saying? All those that's watching, make sure you go like, share, subscribe to the channel. We're growing. I think we had 1,042 right now, something like that. So appreciate y'all, you know what I'm saying? And we're just going to continue to do some things that people don't think can be done. And I can't do that without my panelists. So give it up for them. I appreciate y'all for sure. Does anybody have anything to say before we get out of here? Prototype, you had some things to do. So, you want to have something to say before we get out?
No, I'm good, man. Be blessed.
Oh yeah. And where can they tell them about when the show and then what is it?
Tuesday nights on YouTube. We post our clips on Instagram, the Prototype Kingdom podcast. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all platforms, man. Holla at us.
That's what's up, man. And it's dope when you can get people together to talk about some positive things and it's not yelling going on, and we can actually listen and hear and be productive. So without any more talking. I want to appreciate everybody. And until next time, we out here. Deuces.
The boy is dangerous.
Bad feeling about this.
You don't seem to understand something.
The thing that I like most about being a dad is that I see that I'm about to impact the world.